Welcome back to Emotional Mojo. Be honest, do your holiday get-togethers look more like Norman Rockwell or Norman Bates-ish? Yeah. Well, our next guest is going to help you make difficult people disappear so it doesn't have to look that bad. Welcome, internationally known leadership expert Monica Wofford. Thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely my pleasure. Do you have one or two difficult people we should work on?
I think we all
Yes.
And I think that is the beauty of you being here today because
I'm not sure I want to call them out, though.
Yes, right. Yes,
but
in case they're watching.
everybody can relate. And it's true because the food and the gifts, those are not the only things you have to prepare for during this time of year. How can we prepare ourselves mentally to handle the pressure?
How do you manage the voices in your head
Yes,
with all
please
these
do tell.
in-laws
The
arriving?
community in your head.
Oh, yes. There's a couple of ways to look at it easily and a couple of tips to immediately put in place. One is to really embrace your own authenticity. We talk about in-laws. We talk about maybe former in-laws or people that might be arriving. You know what? You're grown. You don't need to actually conform to everything that they might expect or that they might want. Secondly, look at what your expectations are. Do you expect them to do things that just aren't going to happen?
Right. Like help
that's a
out
good
around
one.
the house or
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Or,
Put their dishes in the dishwasher rather than leave them in the sink.
we
or
can
be
really
nice
specific.
instead of
Yeah.
critical. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just as an example, just as an aside, maybe you expect them to be loving and nurturing, and they're the ones who are going to say, "Oh,
Yeah, and then you don't get that.
And that's not who they are.
Yeah.
So to expect people to do things that are not natural for them is just going to create more difficulty. The third thing would be to listen for what their needs are. Because if you do have someone who's arriving this holiday who is a card-carrying member of Control Freaks Anonymous, maybe I'm the only one in this group, I don't think so. We card-carrying members.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
If that's the case, then watch for what their needs are. They're going to need things like action, results. When they ask you when you get a minute, they
Yeah.
really mean
Right now.
right
Right
this
now.
minute.
Like, do it.
So pay attention to their needs, and that also helps you to communicate more effectively and get along better.
It's a hard balance, though, because I think we naturally want to please people, right? Especially if you keep saying if you're having people over. So if I'm hosting, I want to be a good host. But how do I balance that with my sanity? Because I want to be a sane host as well, right?
Sane, exactly. And everyone's version of, to use your example, a good host is going to be different. Some people want the good hosting to be about making sure everything is out on time. The dinner happens on time, every meal and every side dish is placed on the appropriate place.
Yeah.
Some people want everything to be right. So they want the right people to be seated next to the right other people. They want the outfits to be right,
That's
the
like
decor
way
to be
too
right.
much control.
Right, well, and then
Wait,
you're driving
but you've
yourself.
got different personalities.
You're driving yourself crazy because, and everyone else crazy if you're trying to have that much control.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question for you. You're very wise on this subject. I feel like maybe there's some personal reasons how you got into this field.
There's gotta be a story behind it.
It's perfect. Are you
What
kidding
is
me?
it?
Heck
What's the
no,
story?
heck no. You know, I didn't write the book Make Difficult People Disappear because I've never been accused of being one. Or never not been accused, perhaps I should say. One of the things
So look in the mirror.
Yeah, well,
That's a good tip.
there's a lot to that because I often will ask audiences when we do training classes and consulting with corporations, are any of you the difficult person?
Right.
And that's a hard nut to swallow, but the reality is we don't behave difficultly. People aren't difficult on purpose usually.
They're just being who they are.
They're being who they are. And when we expect them to be different than who they are, that's when it creates difficulty.
And we got to say, too, equally as stressful handling the work family.
Exactly,
Right? And you mentioned your book. It's called Make Difficult People Disappear. So you have
Without
advice.
going to jail.
Yeah. You have advice on how to deal with those difficult people at work. And how do we do it? You say there's 4 personality types. Maybe that's the first clue, is recognizing what you're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've probably got all 4 personality types right here in front of us.
Maybe
The 4 personality types are valuable for you to know. The team needs to have one of each of the personalities.
Okay.
The boss needs to know who are all the employees that work with him or her. And without that kind of data, then you end up leading by trial and error. You end up developing by trial and error, hit or miss. You're not quite sure what's going to work, how to communicate, how to coach.
Yeah.
But the personalities are not unlike many other tools that are out there, many other personality profiles. They're just labeled different. The tool we use is the core profile.
Okay.
But it's commander,
Okay.
organizer, relator, and entertainer. And the terms are somewhat self-explanatory. But the commander is the one who's going to get it done
Yeah.
right now.
And the entertainer is the one who's derailing everybody.
Everything, yeah. All over the place.
They're each motivated by different things.
What if the person who's supposed to be the commander is the one that's
the
always
entertainer.
derailing us?
Then they're probably just acting like they're a
That's a hit
commander.
at you, boss. Well, I love it. I like the idea, and I love the book idea too. So if you guys want to figure out how to find out who you're dealing with and how to make them disappear, check out the book. It is available now. Monica, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. My pleasure.
It's been fun.